The Monaco Grand Prix is just 1 month away, and as we look forward to welcoming our clients to our hospitality facilities for the big one next month, we wanted to speak to someone who knew the event like the back of their hand. So, who could we speak to? Well, sponsoring Williams Racing Academy driver, Ollie Gray, we took a trip down to Rodin Carlin HQ to speak to none other than team leader Trevor Carlin. Here's how it went. As a team leader, what kind of preparations do your team go through to get ready for the Monaco Grand Prix?
Well, I mean, it's quite a tricky one because it's one of those events that you can't ever test on the circuit during the rest of the year. So we have a lot of historical data because we've raced there in the past. So as a team, we're quite knowledgeable. However, for the poor old drivers, for a lot of them, it's their very first time, especially the F3 drivers. So we do as much simulator work as we can. We've got a lot of onboard video. We look at Formula One video, we look at F2 video. So it's all about getting your database as full as possible. Nice. And then trying to instill in the drivers not to crash on their first couple of laps.
Yeah, well, I suppose with like the narrow nature of the circuit, it's probably one of the most challenging tracks on the circuit.
It is.
Albeit it does kind of have a reputation, I think, for being quite, people say it's quite boring, but again, I think it's kind of spawned some of the most iconic moments in.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So our second question is, how does the Monaco Grand Prix compare to other Formula One races in terms of track, location and atmosphere?
Well, I mean, it's absolutely superb, isn't it? I mean, the buzz of a Formula One Grand Prix at Monaco is almost second to nothing. Yeah. But to be fair, a lot of other Grand Prix now are getting better and better. But the jewel in the crown really is Monaco. Yeah. It's the atmosphere, the people. So during the day, you've got these fantastic high-speed racing cars going round, and then in the evening they open up the circuit and then just have a big party. So the boats are full, everyone's having a great time. It's difficult for us because we work late and then we've got to start early, so we don't get much time to party ourselves.
Do you kind of get the feeling with the Monaco Grand Prix? I know in recent years it's kind of got that reputation of being kind of like, if you're famous, you kind of have to be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a place to be. I mean, and it's it's got all the great hotels and all the other famous people go there, so they all hang out together on a yacht. So it's one of those things that everyone needs to have on their bucket list.
Yeah. Have you experienced the yacht hospitality yourself, or?
I have many years ago. Nice. So it's fun.
So we've got another one here. Is what makes the Monaco Grand Prix such a prestigious and iconic event in the world of motorsports? I suppose it kind of links on from the last question.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know exactly how many years, but it's been around a long, long time.
Yeah.
Monaco Grand Prix, and the fundamentals of the track itself haven't really changed for 50 years, 100 years, whatever it is.
Yeah.
All that's changed, of course, now there's a lot more buildings that have been put up. So when you look at some of the videos of Jim Clark and people like that, Graham Hill racing around Monaco, it was quite an open place.
Yeah.
Now there's skyscrapers everywhere and hotels and apartments, but the core circuit is exactly the same.
Do you think it's kind of one of those circuits that just because it's based around so much tradition and it's got this kind of aura of a massive event, that it's almost cemented its place on the calendar almost every year?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of tradition there. It's the one event that's run by the ACM, is the Automobile Club of Monaco. They organise it, and you see their crest on everything. It's very historic. The marshals are all wearing really cool fireproofs and stuff like that. So a lot of history. So
we've got our next question here is, how do the unique features of the Monaco Grand Prix, such as the narrow track and tight corners, affect race strategy and tactics?
Well, I mean, it is the track where track position is everything.
Yeah.
You need to qualify as well as you can.
Do you think qualifying for the Monaco Grand Prix is pretty much the most important part of the racing weekend?
100%. 100%. Yeah, especially in Formula 3 because there's no pit stops, or there shouldn't be any pit stops. In Formula 2 and Formula 1, you've got strategy because you have to do some pit stops as well. But even when you're doing pit stops, you're then looking at where the other cars are and where you're going to come back out. So it's all about track position. Yeah. And once you're stuck behind somebody, even if you're 2 seconds faster than the car in front of you, you've almost got to do a dangerous move.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those rare races on the calendar where I do think qualifying is probably just as important as the race itself. So.
It is. I mean, they don't give points for qualifying, but
no, but I mean, as you mentioned, with track position, it probably goes hand in hand with the race. So.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So our next question is, how do you manage the pressure of competing in such a high-profile and important race, and what kind of mental and emotional preparation do you think the drivers undergo?
I think that, as I said earlier, they do an awful lot of preparation to increase their knowledge, their database. Nothing can really prepare you for the first time you drive around it. And normally, what happens, the lads, they're quite apprehensive and nervous before they go out onto track. Once they've done their first run, they normally do 5 or 6 laps. Then they come into the pits and they take a deep breath. And I've seen it so many times that they're sitting there, they're having catching their breath, and you stick your head in the cockpit and say, right, how was it? They say, oh, it's awesome.
Really?
Yeah. And then after that, once they've done their first run, then they're just pushing, enjoying it. So apprehensive for the first 5 or 6 laps. After that,
do you think it's one of those ones where, I know you say they do a lot of practice work on the simulators, is it kind of like as soon as you get there, it kind of hits home, you realise that I mean, the simulator probably as close as you're going to get to doing an actual lap of it, but do you think there's a massive difference from the simulator to the circuit when it comes to the Monaco Grand Prix?
Yeah, I mean,
or is it just the overwhelming feeling of it?
In a real car, the thing's bouncing, and you've got the wind, and you've got the noise, and you've got the circuit's got curves and bumps and things and camber, so that's all different to the sim. But to be honest, the sims are so good now. If you can do a really accurate lap on the sim, you'll find you'll be doing the same lap time around the track. Yeah, a bit scarier in real life.
So our next question is, what are some of your most memorable moments in the Monaco Grand Prix, and how have they influenced your approach to the race in subsequent years?
Well, memorable from my point of view is obviously winning the race. And the first time that Carlin won the Monaco Grand Prix was in 2009, so that was a F2 race, and at the time we were financially we were struggling a little bit. Things were really tough. If one of the drivers had crashed in practice, we wouldn't have necessarily had the money to be able to fix it. So the whole weekend was on tenterhooks. It was really nerve-wracking. And then we got pole position.
Always good.
Which was always good. It was always good. And our driver, his name was Oliver Turvey, who's our McLaren test driver. He made a great start and checked out, and that was it. And we won the Monaco Grand Prix.
That's the best feeling in the world.
It was, It was as much a relief that we got the job done. So there's nothing like winning in Monaco.
Nothing like there's nothing. Well, I say nothing that compares to it, but in terms of all the other different races on the racetrack, so you see all these trophies there. You probably won almost everywhere in the world. Was there anything different about winning Monaco?
It's special. Every win's special. We've lost a lot more races than we've won. So every time we win a race, it counts. We've got a buzz.
Absolutely.
And what I normally do, this desk here, every time we get a podium during a season, I put the trophies on this desk. And then on the 1st of February of every year, I empty the desk. Those big ones I leave there. But I empty the desk, so it just reminds us that we haven't won anything. All this stuff is great, and it's all history. But now we're back to ground zero, so we can't rest on our laurels. We've got to keep working hard. So every win is important.
Our next question is, how does the Monaco Grand Prix impact the reputation and visibility of Carlin Racing, both within motorsports community and beyond?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost repeating myself in a way, but it's to win Monaco, you've got you've got the podium, which is fantastic, one of a kind. Sometimes you've got royalty there giving out the trophies and stuff like that. So it's a really big moment, and for that weekend that you've won there, and the following week you've got a bit of a halo feeling around yourselves that we've done it, and so it puts you back into the forefront of the news. But of course, the next time you go to another race, you're back to zero again.
Rest on your laurels. Back to it.
You've got to start again. So we enjoy it while we can.
Awesome. And our final question is, What advice would you give to someone attending the Monaco Grand Prix for the first time, and what should they look out for to truly appreciate the spectacle?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to immerse yourself in the whole event.
Yeah.
You know, get a grandstand ticket or somewhere so you can see the cars as close as possible.
Yep.
See as much track action as you can, and then in between that, wander around the town, walk around the harbour, look at the boats. If you're lucky enough to go on a boat, even better, and really immerse yourselves. Try to get to bed before 3 o'clock in the morning, so you
no promises.
So you've got a chance of seeing some of the cars the following day. But fully immerse yourself in the experience, because there's so much going on. There's so many people. There's so much to see.
Yeah.
So have a good look around, walk around, stop, have some lunch. You know, just really get into it. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Awesome. Really looking forward to May when Monaco Grand Prix comes around. I know Ollie will be racing there, so really, really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's great.
Trevor, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate
My pleasure.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching our video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe and check out all of our VIP sports packages on our website linked below.